I've been thinking about these rather unfortunate events, these shootings, the Buffalo shooting and the Oladas shooting, like the Buffalo, New York shooting and the Oladas, Texas shooting. And I've been thinking, I've been thinking about what the bottom line is for dealing with this kind of shit. It's not gun control, it's not about the guns, it's not about gun owners, it's not about video games, like the Pierre of the NRA tried to blame stuff on. Heck, it may not even be about mental health. Here's what it's about. It's about one thing and one thing only. Self-preservation. That's what it's about. But that's the bottom line. I mean, okay, you may have some nuances here and there of other stuff, but the bottom line is self-preservation. Can I protect myself right here, right now? That's what it's about. You know, I mean, people could go on and on about we should ban these guns, this amount of ammo, this magazine capacity, what type of ammo you have, so on and so forth. That's stupid. It doesn't matter. What matters is, do I have the tools to defend myself and others? Do I have those tools, you know? Because, you know, having a gun is way more valuable than having a law. I mean, you know, a gun is more valuable than any cop or scribbles on a piece of paper done by a politician, or even a cop to, like, enforce that unjust scribbles of gun control done by a politician. You know, a gun in the hand means, hey, if someone's shooting people up, I can shoot them back. You know, that's what a gun means. It's way more proactive, way more immediate, way more useful than a law. You know, a law is just, oh, you have to do this, otherwise you go to jail. You know, that's all a law is. It's what is and what isn't allowed. It's not what is and what is right. It's not what is and what is practical. It's not what is and what is effective. All law inherently is what is and what isn't allowed. And laws aren't very valuable in terms of protection. You know, what protects people isn't the punishment given to criminals after they do what they do. What protects people is guns, gun use, self-defensive gun use. That's what protects people. You know, I hear all these people on YouTube clamoring for the death penalty. Like, what good is that gonna do? The guy already killed people. The guy in Buffalo, New York already killed people, and the guy in Odysee, Texas is dead now due to police killing him. But even if he were alive, too, like the other guy, what good does that do given the death penalty? He already killed people. I'm not saying just leave him off the hook, but to act like the death penalty is more than it really does is disingenuous and pathetic. You know, I mean, yeah, you can kill people for doing bad stuff. You could even give them medieval torture for doing bad stuff. But in the end, that's not really helping society. When I hear people say, oh, the death penalty deters these heinous acts, no, it doesn't. People are still willing to do sick shit despite the fact they can get sick shit in return. I mean, people are willing to do the worst people are willing to do the worst acts despite the fact that they can get the worst in return. I mean, look at child molesters. They're willing to touch kids or even rape kids despite the fact that in jail they get punished really hard, not by the guards, but by the prisoners. Well, the guards can punish them too, but whether within protocol or not. But the prisoners especially tend to punish these people because they really hate people that touch kids or rape kids even. So, despite all this nasty stuff you can get in prison for touching kids, they still touch kids. Okay, maybe a bit of tangent, but what I'm trying to say is, punishment doesn't keep society safe. Armed self-defense does. That's what's going to keep people safe. You can kill the criminal after he's killed people, or you can kill the criminal during when he's trying to kill people to stop him from killing people, or to stop him from killing more people. That's what you can do. I mean, it's not about, oh, we give them medieval torture or the death penalty or life in prison afterwards. No, that's not what it's about. That's not what really saves people. What saves people is being able to kill the criminal right here, right now. You know why? Because they're doing the damage right here, right now. So we gotta stop them right here, right now. If they're shooting people up, we gotta shoot them up. It's not about punishment, it's about protection, it's about self-preservation, self-defense. You know, I mean, it's so much more proactive to use deadly force against a killer, a spree shooter, an attacker, a mugger, a burglar, whatever, violent criminal, than to just clean up the mess after they do what they do and punish them. You know, I mean, yeah, you can give a spree shooter death penalty. Yeah, okay. Well, you already killed these people. You could have saved them if you had some armed self-defense setup. But okay, we didn't have that, so this is the best we can do, and it simply sucks. You know, I mean, the death penalty is the best you can do. Is kill someone after they killed all these people rather than just killing them to stop them from killing all these people. Yeah, I mean, you gotta really look. Obviously, all these shootings in particular are pretty bad. In a way, they're the same like any other shooting. You're gonna hear the same talking points. You're gonna hear about gun control. You're gonna hear about racism, like gun grabbers are racist towards gun owners, like they're all just old white men, straight white men or something, which is pretty damn racist and sexist. And the gun was invented in China by Chinese people, native Chinese people, so doesn't that make guns an old yellow man thing? I mean, these racist gun grabbers don't even know their history. So, but anyways, you know, you're gonna hear about gun control, racism, mental health, which could somewhat be legitimate, but I don't think that's the main thing to focus on. And you know, it's not gonna go anywhere except for actually with more gun control, which sucks because that just endangers people. You see, the thing about gun control is the killers knew about it. You know, I mean, the Buffalo shooting guy. I'm not at the computer right now, so I can't access the computer right now, so I can't really get the lowdown on that guy. I even forgot his name. So I mean, but anyways, he knew Buffalo, New York was a heavy gun control city, and it is. I researched it. You can't have magazines more than 10 rounds, but he was able to get magazines more than 10 rounds, okay? I mean, it said he modified some magazines, or modified the guns to take some magazines that held 30 rounds instead of 30 rounds or 10 rounds. I'm not quite sure what that means exactly. If I had to take a guess, I'm thinking he took some pinned magazines, which are magazines that were originally 30 round, but had a bolt put in it, like a rivet or bolt, whatever, put into it, so the magazine gets stuck, the follower gets stuck. If it tries to go past 10 rounds, it gets stuck at 10 rounds. You know, to make the magazine hold 30 rounds or full capacity, the follower has to be able to go from the top to the bottom. When a pin mag makes it so the follower only goes like 1/3 of the way. It makes the follower stuck. So I'm thinking he got some pin magazines and unpinned them. So now he can hold 30 rounds. So now he can shoot people with 30 rounds. Okay, so there goes your high capacity magazine law, you know. Didn't work. You know, I mean, you just get the magazines out of state or even modify some pin mags. However, he did it. And yeah, they like to argue that, gun control people like to argue that, oh, well, gun control will stop at least some criminals from getting guns and the ammo and doing nasty stuff. Well, not really. And even if it does, a lot of criminals are still getting these guns and still doing this killing, or at least intimidation with guns. You know, brandishing a gun, mugging someone, robbing someone, what have you. So can you really call a policy worth it if it stops little to no one and all these people still get by and do what they do with their guns unjustly to people? I mean, it's not worth it. It's not worth enacting gun control if it isn't even going to work effectively for that reason alone. So here's what I want people to really take away from this. I want people to advocate for self-defense more. Not just guns, but, well, I mean, not just in a firearm kind of sense, but in just kind of like a pure necessity, pragmatic kind of sense. Like, a gun isn't just, you know, a tool where you can't dodge the bullets, you can't dodge its attack, its ammo. I mean, you can dodge a fist, you can dodge a knife, but you can't dodge a gun. You can't dodge a bullet. I mean, it's readily usable and force and all that. Yeah, it's not just that. It's active protection. It's protection right in your hand, right at your fingertips, literally at your fingertips. So instead of maybe telling people about guns as like a Second Amendment right and against government tyranny, maybe pro-gun people should be teaching about guns in a more proactive, pragmatic, right here, right now method of self-defense. I mean, yeah, I agree with the Second Amendment, and I believe you should be able to own whatever weapon you want, though that isn't really working on the anti-gun crowd. I mean, they still think you need to ban certain guns or even all guns and ammunition and magazine limits and micro-stamped ammunition, and universal background checks, even though people already have those. It's called the NICS system, yeah, the NICS. National Instant Criminal Background Check System, NICS. So that's the universal background check system because all states of all licensed dealers have to conduct that check on people who buy their guns. Yeah, private sales, but those are like hand-me-down guns that were bought from a dealer that had to conduct a background check. Yeah, you can buy brand new guns from a dealer and then have a private sale with them, but still, it's a gun that had to go through a dealer, which means it had to go through a background check to even get it to a private sale. So, universal background checks are pretty watertight. Everyone has to take them to buy firearms, one way or another, somewhere down the line. So, as for schools, not really... Okay, well, let me tell you this. What's really frustrating about the shootings is the cops or 911 dispatch, EMS, whatever, acted really incompetently. With the Buffalo, New York shooting, people called 911 earlier than when they started to deploy the cops. I heard the 911 operator hung up on them or something. And as for what's even more disturbing, as for the Odysee, Texas shooting, the cops surrounded the building, but they didn't go in right away, which is what? Also, it's a form of deja vu because this is what happened with the Columbine shooting. Columbine shooting back in, I think, Aurora, Colorado, was when two high schoolers, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, they went in with some guns. They shot at least 10 of their classmates and a teacher dead, and then they shot themselves dead. Well, for that shooting, the cops didn't come in right away. They came, of course, but they didn't come in right away. They surrounded the building, but there's no going after criminals, let's get them right here, right now. The criminals are in the building right now doing their sick shit, so we gotta get them right now. Well, they didn't do that. And a lot of lives were lost as a result of that. Well, it's the same thing with this shooting. Cops didn't go in right away. Guy took a lot more lives than he should have been able to. And not only is this disturbing, this is really odd because after Columbine, cops supposedly modified their protocol so that if a shooting happens, they go in right away. They surround the place, and they not only surround the place, they go in right away because the shooter's in right here, right now. You gotta go in right here, right now. Okay, basic common sense. And I don't get why that is the way why that happened, but it happened. And also some cops that were kind of sick, and they're arresting parents for trying to just run in themselves and get their kids, which is sick. They're already having their kids shot up, and you arrest them and restrain them from going in the building that you're too incompetent to go in, from rescuing your kids. That sucks. That sucks. And I think it goes to show the government isn't to be relied upon for protection. Even though cops, in a roundabout way of the law, are supposed to go after shooters, they have no real obligation to protect the person in particular. They're not bodyguards, but they are supposed to enforce the law, and the law says you can't just go shoot people up. So, yeah, even though cops have that form of their protocol and their duties, you can't rely on them, because look what these cops did. So, what I say is this: if a school isn't willing to protect its students from even school shootings, let alone bullying, just take your kid out of that school. There's no other way around it. If, fuck truancy laws. If they're not willing to keep your kids safe, if they're not willing to have armed teachers or armed campus police or, even armed security guards, if they're not willing to have any of that shit, then don't bother with that school. Take your kid out. Your kid deserves to be safe. Children deserve to be safe, especially. And if the school ain't doing shit to protect themselves with guns in turn to shoot a guy with a gun, basic common sense, then they don't deserve your kid's attendance. I'm sorry, but they don't. Fuck truancy laws. I'd rather be judged by, I don't know, I guess it kind of goes into that, I'd rather be judged by 12 and carried out by 6 or something. I'd rather my kid and I get in trouble for, disobeying a truancy law and having them carried out in a body bag. Okay, that's a bit grim, but let's be honest, that's what happens. There's nothing glamorous about a death. So, yeah, this is pretty much what people have to do. They not only have to be armed or have as many people armed as possible, they have to make sure the institution they're sending their children to is armed too. And if they're not, I'd say they'd have to take their kid out of that place. I mean, is a place really worth going to if it's not safe, if it's not protecting its people? I mean, I'd say no. So, I guess, kind of repeat myself, but what to really take away from this, you know, I mean, pro-gun, yeah, but I feel like people need to be protected more gun ownership, and I feel like people need to pressure schools, whether private or public, and of course, I'm against public school entirely, but that's not true. Whatever school is, they need to get the school to get on board with arming someone, whether it be the cops or teachers or armed security, just someone reliable, be armed so you can shoot back at a guy who shoots. I mean, come on. So, I mean, the shooter shoots, okay? The shooter has a gun. You need a gun of your own. I'm sorry, but this is basic logic. If he can take you out of distance, you have to take him out of distance. I mean, how else can I put it with these gun grabbers or whatever? I don't know how else I can say it. You need gun to get good guy, need gun to get bad guy with gun, because bad guy with gun can shoot good guy with guns. I mean, how else do I explain it? So yeah, more gun ownership, more open carry, concealed carry, less gun-free zones, and more armed places. You know, not just a place where you can carry your gun and protect yourself and others, but a place that has their employees with their guns to protect themselves and others. I mean, that's what the U.S. really needs right now, as well as the entire world. Yeah, why don't I just say the entire world? Because I might be implying that the U.S. is like the only place for shootings or has more shootings. I don't think the U.S. exactly has the most shootings. I mean, it does get severe with the shootings, and it does get pasted all over media. But I have a feeling the U.S. isn't the most violent country in the world when it comes to guns, murder, homicide, or whatever, deaths. I heard Honduras is far worse than the U.S. in terms of gun murders and stuff. But anyways, you know, you need to have more people with more guns. You need to have less gun-free zones. You need to have more institutions with guns. You need to have less restrictions with guns. I mean, you need more guns than all that entails, period. Because that's what the criminals have. You need to fight back accordingly. So instead of people mocking people for saying thoughts and prayers, how about getting armed self-defense set up? How about that for a real solution, instead of just another scribble on paper that just disarms the innocent and keeps the guilty armed? You know, I mean, you can have cops pull over people for their guns and take them away, or even bust in their house to take away their guns. Whatever, red flag laws, fuck that shit. Or you can allow peaceful people to own guns freely and be able to protect against not so peaceful people. I mean, other than the government, the choice is societies. And I want to see something better happen, because I'm tired of the shootings. I'm tired of all this killing. I'm tired of all these people being unarmed, just being at the mercy of some asshole with a gun or some violent person. I'm tired of it. I want people to be protected. I want people to survive. I want the innocent to win. I don't want the shooter to win. I want the innocent to win. For the innocent to win, they need to have a gun. So at least one person needs to be armed to take out at least one person who's armed. That's killing people. Goes without saying. So yeah, that's my video. I mean, I don't know if there's any more I could say, or if I've even taken it too long or something. But look, you know, the government isn't going to make this any better. Hysterical gun grabbers aren't going to make it any better. You know, nobody's going to make it any better but armed, reliable people. That's what's going to make things better. The reliable, peaceful, smart, well-trained armed citizen is what's going to save people from mass shooters or burglars, robbers, you know, whoever wants to do harm. These are the people that are going to save people ultimately. Not the cops, not the politicians, not the gun grabbers, the armed citizens, because they're armed and can shoot back. You know, that's what we need. And I do mean we. I don't mean we to mean they that are associated with us. No, I do literally mean we. As in you, me, everybody, them, us, everyone. That's what I mean by we. So yeah, if I forgot anything I had planned for this video, I apologize. It's just that there's so much to cover, and I gotta cover it so well. So I guess this is it. If I have more to say, I might put in the description. I might make a part 2, whatever. I have this at least to say. At least I don't, and I don't think people should be mocked for thoughts and prayers. Like, that's any average fantasy. It's not about that, okay? They're showing concern for a fellow human being. Why mock people for that? I know thoughts and prayers aren't adequate to solving the problem, but it at least shows that people care, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna just stop at thoughts and prayers, okay? There are plenty of pro-gun people that have offered thoughts and prayers and want pro-gun implementations, okay? They don't just go thoughts and prayers. They want implementations of guns to protect people, which is the right way to go. So, yeah, that's what I have to say so far. I'm really sad about the shooting. I'm sorry it happened. I mean, I know I'm not like crying right now, but I'm sad. We got all this death going on, and I think a lot of it could have been prevented with gun ownership and use and utilization, that kind of thing. I'm sorry guys, but hey, we can fix this. I mean, we can prevent it. We can stop more shootings from happening by having armed people be prepared. That's the only way it's gonna work. All right, bye.